If you're running Google Ads for your towing business and getting phone calls that don't turn into real jobs, then this video is for you. I'll go through some areas of the campaigns that might directly affect the call quality and share some practical changes that you can review to increase your chance of attracting more relevant and higher intent phone calls. So let's get started. So guys, if you're a towing business running Google Ads and you want to increase the quality of your phone calls, then in this video we're going to go through some of the strategies that might help you to increase the quality of your phone calls, and with that way you can get more phone calls from people who are looking for relevant services that your business offers. This is one of our example account, and this is a towing service business, and as you can see, in the last, let's say, 60 days we've generated around 919 phone calls and 568 conversions. The number of conversions are less than the number of phone calls because it can include repeat phone calls, and we are trying not to include those kind of repeat phone calls. And also some phone calls might be, let's say, missed phone calls. Some phone calls might be, let's say, less than 10 seconds, 20 seconds, which might not be higher quality phone calls. And with those kind of very short phone calls, we're not trying to include here as well. And this cost per conversion is calculated based on this conversion data, but if we would calculate with this number of phone calls, that would be even cheaper. So I think that would be better way compared to this way. So it's around $18.63, and our search impression share is around 42%. And you can see more of these kind of examples where I've helped different types of local service businesses to generate them phone calls or conversions using Google Ads. And if you want to see more of these kind of case studies, you can also check my website. So the first thing I would suggest you is you need to fix your conversion tracking to include mostly higher quality phone calls. So maybe with your conversion tracking, you are tracking phone calls as a conversions, even phone calls, let's say less than 5 seconds, 10 seconds, 20 seconds. And you need to increase that phone call limit. So for example, in our case, here we're in the conversion section. And if you're going to see the call length, we're tracking as a conversion. So you can see it from here. If the call length is equal to or more than 30 seconds, we're tracking it as a conversion. I've tried to set it as 60 seconds, and for me, it seemed like the number of conversions went down, and it seemed like Google Ads was trying really hard and having a hard time of bringing more of these kind of longer phone calls, and it seemed like the number of conversions went down. That's why I reduced the call length from 60 seconds back to 30 seconds. And depending on your criteria, you can change this number. And of course, you need to be counting more than, let's say, 10 seconds, 20 seconds. And here I'm putting for this account 30 seconds. But for some accounts that I manage, I put it as 60 seconds, and it's working fine. And the longer you put, the more accurate the conversion data can be. Because if it's, let's say, 60 seconds call length, most probably the quality can be better. And Google Ads might optimize your campaigns by looking at that conversion data. A quick reminder, if you want to copy my exact Google Ads campaign structure for local service businesses to generate phone calls, I'm giving it away for free. You can use it as a blueprint or copy it into your own account. The link is in the description below. And the next thing in our list, your loser match types can be the problem. So we're in the campaign section. For example, for certain campaigns, exact matches might bring more higher quality phone calls. And that means you can continue using exact matches. If you start adding phrase matches or broad matches, then they can bring you lower quality phone calls with very short call length, and the quality of the phone calls can be very low. When I compared the match types, the number of phone calls that I've got, you can see that by comparing the match types. If you have been already running Google Ads and you have been generating conversions with broad matches, let's say with phrase matches and exact matches, you can filter the keywords and only filter them by their match types. Let's say with exact match, how many conversions you've got and what was their cost per conversion. And with phrase matches and broad matches, you can do the same. How many conversions you've got and what was their cost per conversion. And if broad matches and phrase matches bringing a lot of low quality phone calls, then that means you can only focus on exact matches. But the downside of exact matches, it might not be able to provide you with enough search volume, which means your number of phone calls might drop dramatically. And you need to be careful and make sure that even if you are using exact matches, your phone call volume should not drop. But the quality can be better compared to the phrase and broad match type of keywords. And the next thing in our list, you should maintain a strong negative keyword list. So I'm going to show you my negative keyword list, for example. from here, as you can see, I've added lots of negative keyword lists, and this is the biggest list, around 1800 keywords, and total maybe there are more than 2000 keywords. And you should add those negative keywords regularly so that you won't get clicks from people who are looking for your competitors or they're looking for irrelevant services. And adding negative keywords regularly can help you a lot to exclude irrelevant terms that might come again and again in the future. So as you can see from here, just adding, let's say 100, 200 negative keywords is not enough. You should be adding them frequently, and you might have different version of the irrelevant terms, and you can find them in your search terms report regularly. So especially if you are using phrase match and broad match, you need to add a lot of negative keywords. Otherwise, you might receive a lot of spam phone calls from people who are looking for your competitors, or they might be looking for irrelevant terms, such as those could be people who are looking for impounding services, or they might be looking for towing yards, and they can come in a different version of the search terms, so that if you add them regularly, you can increase your chance of getting more relevant search terms in the future. And the next thing is you should add more high intent keywords. So first thing I would suggest is you should go to the search terms report and find the keywords which are converting, but they are not added, let's say. So as you can see from here, I've added a lot of keywords. And if you look at the longer time data, it would be more reliable, because that means they have been bringing conversions consistently. And if you can add those kind of keywords, that means they can bring more conversions for that specific term. So again, one way would be by going through the search terms report, and from here you can find historically converting terms and add them as your target keywords. And you need to choose the keywords which have been consistently bringing conversions, and their cost per conversion should be better, so that you should be profitable by targeting those terms. And another way would be by going to the keyword planner. So we're going to go to tools, and the planning, we're going to go to keyword planner and click on discover new keywords. And from here, we're going to enter our target keyword. Let's say, as an example, we're going to choose a broader term, which is towing, and we can have more keyword ideas by only using one keyword. So as you can see, we have 401 keyword ideas available. And from here, we need to be choosing higher intent keywords. So we're going to choose, let's say, tow truck near me, towing near me. And historically, I also saw the keyword of tow truck perform better. So we can choose this keyword as well. But if you're using broad and phrase, you should be careful using these kind of very broad terms. If you're using broader type of keywords, make sure that you're adding longer tail keywords and more specific keywords. And again, if you're using broad and phrase match type of keywords, they might bring lower quality keywords, and you should be adding a lot of negative keywords. So our higher quality, higher intent keywords would be tow truck near me, towing near me, towing company near me, tow service near me, tow truck service near me, and you can find more of these kind of specific higher intent keywords. But of course, if you are using exact matches, you can use more shorter tail versions as well, such as, let's say, towing service, or as I told, tow truck, if you're only using exact match keywords. But if you're gonna use them with phrase and broad, you should be really, really careful, as I've told, and you should be adding a lot of negative keywords. And the next thing on our list, you should limit or cut search volume from the keywords which are bringing a lot of low quality phone calls. This might be a little bit tricky, because certain keywords might bring, let's say, a lot of low quality phone calls, but they might be also bringing a lot of high quality phone calls as well. So when analyzing your data, you should make sure that you're only limiting the search volume of the keywords which are underperforming. So if you're going to see our example, and if you're going to go to the keyword section, let's say we have around 38 conversions with this particular keyword, and it brought around 55 phone calls, which means, let's say, if we're not including repeat phone calls, let's say around 17 phone calls is not included here, which means, as an example, if you're going to take it, 17 phone calls is not included here, but 38 phone calls are recorded as a conversion. But of course, you need to be analyzing deeper, but as an example I'm giving. And that means by only looking at the 17 low quality phone calls, you cannot say this is a low quality keyword. And again, another example, it brought 35 conversions, and the cost per conversion is around $13, which is better than average. And it brought 14 more phone calls than the conversions. And if it has brought 14 low quality phone calls, that doesn't mean it is an unprofitable keyword. It might be profitable, but it might be sometimes bringing lower quality phone calls. That's why you should be really, really careful when excluding or limiting the search volume of certain keywords. If they are really bringing low quality phone calls, and their low quality phone calls are much more than their higher quality phone calls, and overall, if they're unprofitable, then you can consider pausing those kind of keywords. So by just looking at this dashboard, you may not be able to make your decisions. That's why you should be analyzing it much deeper. And one way would be I would open my call details report. So let's say this is our call details report, and from here you can have better idea which campaign is performing better. Here I haven't added the ad group and keyword section, but you can easily add that. You can add the ad group and keyword section and see which exact specific keyword is generating which kind of phone calls and what are their call length. And that is much better than just looking at the data as we've seen before. Now you can have a clearer picture which keyword is performing how, and should you pause them or limit their search volume. And even better way would be by listening to their call recording and then deciding about the quality of the keywords. So if we see the latest data, the call recordings should be available. As you can see, we can listen some call recordings. And the next thing is you should change your headlines and descriptions and make sure that you are pre-qualifying the callers before they call to your business. So let's say you have created your headlines and descriptions and they're looking for Jumpstart service, but your headlines are generic. Let's say you are saying we offer towing services, let's say 24/7 towing services, and you list your services with your headlines and descriptions. That is not very relevant to what they're looking for. So the Jumpstart keyword that they're using is not included with your headlines and descriptions. Let's say with that way they may not find it relevant and they may not click on your ad. And for that, you can use pinning section. For example, if you don't offer, let's say, Jumpstart service or car lockout service, you can just pin your headlines and say towing services. And that means you offer only towing services. Or let's say if they're located in a different location, let's say in a different city and you're located in a different city, you can just use your headlines 24/7 towing services in New York as an example. But as they're located in a different city and they're using different keywords, and by looking at your pinned headline, they can say this is not what they're looking for and they may not click on your ad. So that's how your headlines and descriptions help you to filter irrelevant traffic, and that can also save you some budget. And whoever is looking for irrelevant services or looking for your competitors, they may not click on your ad because of this filtering. And the next thing on our list, again, relates to call recordings. Call recordings can help you if you can listen them one by one. You can identify some patterns. You can find certain keywords are bringing a lot of low quality phone calls. Again, make sure that they might be also bringing high quality phone calls. Overall, you should be profitable with certain keywords. Otherwise, if they're unprofitable, you can limit them or stop using those kind of keywords. And for that, you can use call details report, or if you are using some kind of call tracking software, you can listen to your call recordings with that way as well. But make sure that you're getting the campaign data, ad group data, and keyword data, and that can help you to make your analysis. And after that, you can optimize your campaigns by listening to those recordings. And the last thing in our list, you should accept that sometimes low quality phone calls are part of advertising. Let's see it from here, from the overview section. So here we've generated again 568 conversions. They are phone call related conversions. So people might call directly from ads, or it might be phone call related conversions that can happen from the website, which might be if they are using mobile version of the website, they might click on the call button from their mobile phone and they may call to your business. That's also another way of tracking conversions. So overall, let's say out of 919 phone calls, we're considering 568. Let's say some of these phone calls might be lower quality phone calls, and still you can receive a lot of high quality phone calls. Sometimes it might be part of advertising, but your job is to reduce the lower quality phone calls or be profitable in advertising with Google. Because sometimes you might be seriously getting a lot of low quality phone calls and you might be unprofitable. But sometimes you might be getting some number of lower quality phone calls, but also getting higher quality phone calls as well, which means overall you might be profitable. And for that, you should be tracking your conversions. And if you're getting a lot of low quality phone calls, you might as well use more targeted approach, and that can somehow help you to increase the quality of your traffic and quality of your phone calls. And overall, you should make sure that you're being profitable while advertising on Google. So guys, these are some of the ways to increase the quality of the phone calls you can get from Google. Or if you guys want my help to generate high quality phone calls for your towing business, you can also apply to work with me and I can help you manage your Google Ads campaigns. Otherwise, thank you guys for watching this video and see you guys in my other videos.